Gregg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst. He's back with us. Lydia Hu, right here on set with me, Fox business correspondent. And I might add a lawyer, a very distinguished lawyer. Good. All right. Gregg Jarrett, which is it? Are these independent agencies independent or are they not independent? All right? I mean, I'm trying to figure this thing out. The Supremes went both ways today on me.
Well, that's why Roberts wrote both opinions, because it's nuanced. He very narrowly crafted a constitutional and statutory line encircling the Federal Reserve. He drew a distinction, said the Fed's unique, it's different than all of these other regulatory agencies where the president does have broad authority to fire at will. But the central bank, said Roberts, that's different because Congress structured it to operate independently, recognizing that monetary policy is meant to be protected from political pressure. Now, it doesn't mean that Trump cannot, in the end, succeed in firing Cook, only that she has to be given due process for a for-cause removal, because that's the legal standard, Larry, that applies to the federal statutory law. So, as I say, it's a nuanced ruling, and that's why Roberts wrote both the Cook opinion and the Slaughter opinion as well, that does give Trump unilateral power to fire leaders of regulatory agencies for a reason or no reason at all.
Well, all right. Lydia, you were citing in some of the text I read, not being a lawyer, but I read some stuff, the first and second U.S. banks, first and second banks of the United States. First bank was started by Alexander Hamilton. Then it expired. Nicholas Biddle was the president of it. It was interesting battles that went on. Populist, Andrew Jackson ran against it. Second bank expired, and Andrew Jackson finally became president and refused to renew its charter or extend its charter, which was probably bad monetary policy. But my point is, if you're going to use that, that doesn't tell me that it was so important, because they wouldn't extend it, okay? Right. If it was that important, they would have extended. Then, hang on a second. This FTC decision, all right, everybody's beating up on the FTC, Roberts and others, saying, the 1935 decision was not a good decision. In those days, things were different. But the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, which happened before that, that one is very important because it was, stipulated the Fed's independence. I would just say, as a student of the Fed, it was a very ambiguous thing. But you see what I'm saying? It's like what's good for the goose didn't really take hold for the gander. Right. And I didn't understand if an ordinary person, FTC, out the window, it can fire anybody, Federal Reserve, untouchable. I'm not sure folks can understand that. I'm not sure I understand it.
Yeah, it is awfully confusing. And one thing that happened when we were listening to oral arguments over this Cook case about the Federal Reserve was the justices wrestling with that very issue. How independent is the Federal Reserve? And some of the things that they were looking at is the terms of appointment, the 14-year terms that these folks serve. It's much longer than other agencies. The fact that the Federal Reserve is kind of self-funded. You know, they're not taking appropriations from Congress. You know, they're kind of managing themselves. Those are other additional indicators, it seemed to suggest that maybe that they're independent, in addition to Chief Justice Roberts outlining that extensive history that you just mentioned. One thing that I would flag is Justice Thomas's dissent, because I think he put it so eloquently when he really rejected the premise of what was laid out in the majority holding authored by Chief Justice Roberts. And if I can just read it briefly to you, he says today, quote, "Although the court expresses concern that the president removed a board member for the first time in the Federal Reserve's 111-year history, it expresses no such concern that it today upholds an injunction against the president's removal of an executive officer for the first time in the Constitution's 237
That's kind
years.
of the point that I was making, or that's kind of the Gorsuch point. Actually, we should put some of that in the riff when we redo the riff. I appreciate that. So, Gregg Jarrett, one other point. I mean, I don't want to go on forever because the decisions are the decisions. Lisa Cook is going to be on the board for now, but this Slaughter woman is off the FTC. Okay, fine. But I never understood a criminal referral was sent to the Justice Department on the issue of mortgage fraud regarding Lisa Cook. Now, that's an allegation, okay? It's an allegation. She was, apparently they have evidence, and this is William Pulte and the Federal Housing Finance Corporation, whatever it's called, over in HUD. They have evidence that she had 3 mortgages in Georgia, in Massachusetts, and in Michigan. They're places where she taught, I think, and she labeled each one her primary residence. Either that's true or not true, but here's my question. The Justice Department doesn't seem to have done a thing in almost a year. So how's this ever going to get resolved? What are they waiting for? And why didn't they act on it, for heaven's sakes? The Justice Department, she's either up or down. I mean, this decision doesn't rule her out. If she's guilty, then she's going to be out, and Trump's going to win this, this titanic battle of independent commissions.
Well, I never want to make an excuse for the DOJ because I'm not a big admirer of how they run things over there. It could be that they are still investigating and maybe vigorously, but they need to talk to a lot of different people. It could be that they just don't have the evidence and that they're going to close it out imminently. Let me put my defense attorney hat on because that's what I used to be. It's unfair to my client, if it were Lisa Cook, that she loses her job when, in the end, there is only an allegation and there is no indictment or criminal charge, there's no conviction, and maybe she has a reasonable explanation for what appears to be a violation of the law. We just don't know. But that's why Roberts said today she deserves due process before she gets canned. And that seems to me, as a defense attorney, to be quite reasonable.
She's had due process for a year. But you're right. I'm in favor of due process. I just remember the famous words of President Jimmy Carter. Some things in life are unfair. And I will close the entire segment on that. Thank you, Gregg, Jarrett. Thank you, Lydia Hu. We appreciate it very, very much.